Hey, Pam McCloskey here, better known as Coach Pamski. I want you to picture a woman who, on the outside, looks like she has it all together. She looks happy, she looks successful, her business is thriving, her family seems perfect. And yet, on the inside, she's dying, consumed by self-doubt, lost, living like a fraud. She is so exhausted from fighting the overwhelming feeling of giving up. She wants to be successful. She tries so hard to be strong. And yet, the dysfunction that she grew up with, enduring an unhealthy relationship, and all the unexpected things that the world threw at her caused her to be a prisoner with undesirable effects. She needs help. She wants help, but she doesn't know where to get it. I have the honor and privilege of rising up businesswomen and mompreneurs out of the pit of inner chaos and direct them to the true source of value while giving them action steps to overcome, so that they can claim their birthright as daughters of the King and change the way they live their life story. One of the ways I do that is with Pamski's Place, a virtual life learning center for women that promotes the 6 pillars of self-care with Christian values. In Pamski's Place is 5 rooms to learn how do you set boundaries? How do you overcome imposter syndrome and low self-worth? How do you trust again? Working through emotions like anxiety, grief, shame, guilt, and so much more. Though I studied under Dr. Peter Levine, Dr. Norman Wright, and Dr. Larry Crabb, the greatest lessons that I learned was in the classroom of life. Because you see, I was that woman. I had so many masks. I was a master at having masks. Each one was designed to make people think that I was okay, that I'm fine. I had the mask that hid the hurt and the anger that I had from growing up in an abusive home, mentally, physically, and emotionally. I had a mask that hid the pain of the reality that my mom attempted to kill me as a little girl in a gas oven. I didn't want people to know that I used drugs and alcohol and sex to exit away from emotions and numb myself. What would people think of me if they knew that I was in an abusive relationship for 3 years and that one day when he came home, he was strangling me until I blacked out and I grabbed my 9-month-old son and became homeless, living in an abandoned home? How do I explain that anxiety became my shadow after cheating on my wonderful husband for 6 years? And no, it wasn't the abusive guy. It became too much. Those masks became way too heavy. I didn't know what to do with it all. And I convinced myself that my husband, my 3 beautiful children, the world would be better off if I wasn't here. So I planned and I plotted. And with one last-ditch effort, I cried out to God. He answered. I was saved through the ashes of a house fire. But I tell you what, that journey wasn't easy. It was hard. Going through self-development, transformation, and healing is hard. And there were so many times I wanted to give up. But in every struggle, there was a valuable lesson. I learned to love myself. I learned to have respect for myself. I learned to be able to pour grace and mercy on myself and then pour it out on others. I learned to have healthy boundaries without punishing. I learned a lot. And in those valuable lessons, yes, I wanted to give up, but I didn't. Maybe you are in your own secret war. Maybe you came here with masks of your own. You're hiding behind a mask because you don't want people to know what's going on with you. Maybe you have the mask that you're hiding in addiction, shopping, spending money, drugs, alcohol, porn, anger. Yes, even anger can be an addiction. And you're hiding behind that mask because you don't want anyone to know what you're doing in secret. Maybe you're wearing a mask that's hiding shame and guilt and self-loathing. Maybe you're wearing a mask that's covering up the resentment and being critical, criticizing other people. And you're wearing this mask that says, I'm nice. These masks become heavy. And I can tell you, if you continue to wear them, you're being robbed. Maybe you came here with a crossroad. You need to make some decisions, but you don't know what decisions to make. And you've been through a lot. Like, it's just too much. And you feel so overwhelmed. You're about to throw your hands in the air and say, I give up. I'm going to tell you, don't give up. I know what it means to be there. Marcus knows what it means to be there. But I'm going to tell you, don't give up, because your breakthrough is right around the corner. There are things that you are not going to receive if you give up. And not only that, there are people out there waiting for you, and they're not going to receive if you give up. I think about all the women in the last 20 years, how they may have not gotten what they should have, what they needed, if I would have given up. So don't give up. In an interview, a podcast interview recently, towards the end of it, I was asked, how did you do it, Pam? How did you have so much resilience? You've been through so much. How were you resilient? I'll leave you with my answer. I said, I needed to be bold. Bold doesn't mean that you don't have fear. Bold means that you push through that fear and you take a risk. When I got out of that abusive relationship, I was being bold. When I cried out to God, I was being bold. When I decided that I was going to go through the healing process no matter what, I was being bold. Bold is an acronym. B is break out of victim mentality. Don't blame everybody else for what's going on with you. I blame my mom. I blame my dad. Blaming people will keep you stuck. Oh, take ownership. Own what is yours. Own your own feelings, thoughts, emotions, opinions. You don't have to be like everybody else. You don't have to people please. You can own your own, and you're allowed to have them. Give yourself permission. L, let go. Let go of toxic people, people who are manipulating you and negative. Let go of your past mistakes and don't let them hold you down. Let go of the walls that you've built to hide yourself, to keep people at arm's length. Because while you're keeping them at arm's length, guess what? You're behind that wall with yourself. And if you don't like yourself, not a good place to be. And you wall off the emotions that you don't want, but guess what? You can't receive the ones that you do, like joy, peace. And D is deepen your relationships. Deepen your relationship with yourself. Deepen your relationship with God. And if you have a problem with God, let's talk. And deepen your relationship with healthy people, because we were created for relationships, and we need support. So step up, step out, and be bold. Why? Because it's time to thrive while alive.